Hey gamers, welcome to the PTGC podcast. My name's Gerard. Joining me are my other hosts, Gio and Mike. Say hi, guys.
Hello, hello,
What's up?
hello.
Today's episode is about the next generation of gaming. Otherwise, we're just going to be shortening that to next gen. Uh, I'm just going to give a little broad definition of why we mean by next gen. Anything gaming wise that's coming out, at least within the next 10 years, which can include like PS6 or the next Xbox or even any futuristic gaming that we think would be new technology. So, with that being said, I like to ask everyone their general opinions on what they think will be next gen. Uh, Anyone could take the floor. I have my own opinion, but I want to save that for last because mine is kind of a hot take.
Everything could be a hot take.
Technically, to the right person.
Gaming doesn't last. You will be gone. That's a hot take.
For next gen, I think the push is probably more for like the VR because Apple has their Pro goggles or whatever. I think that's gonna be big once they kind of when more things comes out. I'm assuming PlayStation and Xbox will continue their yearly releases, but maybe
Yearly.
they could change it up a bit. But with better technology, things will keep advancing. But yeah, I think more push is just probably more into like the virtual reality, because I think it could be for all ages, and once they continue to bring more content out for it, I think it'll become a bigger hit.
Man, I really, that's kind of one of those things. I think, like you said, VR is definitely one of the major directions that the gaming world seems to be going. Personally, I've never really tried any of the VR things. I don't know why. I'm just not into it. I prefer to be either playing on a PC or playing on a console. I think as far as consoles, the consoles, I feel like obviously the graphics will be better. The power of the systems and less lag, less, loading times, all that stuff will obviously be better. But I think what I want to see more from the next generation is kind of like focusing more on making the game fun. You know what I mean? I feel like there's so much games out there, and replay value has kind of diminished over the years. I think maybe that's just keeping the people's attention span being shorter. But I feel like back in the day when we had like Super Nintendo, you think of like N64, those days. Those games were just fun as hell. Like you think about it, I feel like the next generation should be focusing more on just. I get it. They're gonna find loopholes to make money off of them. Obviously, they're gonna do things to make money, whatever. But just more interactive with the player base in that sense. I just want to see more of them focusing on the purity and the joy of gaming again. That's just me, because I feel like more of it's just about a business at this point to an extent. And gaming is fun still to us. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I don't have fun gaming. I do, but but it's not the same as it once was to me.
Yeah, and I will add on to that I do feel like the next consoles will have better load times and have better graphics, especially with the advances in graphics cards and things like that, and the miniaturizing of like majority of components. But I think, and this is probably not a well shared take, maybe a hot take even. I don't think there will be consoles after the next 10 years. So I do think the PS6 and maybe the next Xbox will be the last consoles that will be created. Here's my reasoning why. because this is such a weird take, and now that I have to defend it, it's just like many people are gonna be like, okay, now I'm interested on what dumb shit you have to say now, because you're right. Like making consoles is a very profitable thing, and at this point in time, everyone is either expected to have one of the two consoles. I mean, the console wars is a very proficient thing, but like, what is also advancing is the miniaturizing of components, but also TVs. The amount of smart TVs that are out right now, like everyone at this point has either a smart TV that can access the internet at all times, or just like a smart TV that basically already does everything. Like you can watch apps on your TVs. The Amazon Fire Stick has allowed TVs that are not smart TVs to become smart TVs, but those are starting to become far in between as more TVs already have built-in apps. And I do think the advancements of these TVs will eventually put to the point where like their graphics are going to be good. They're going to have the ability to connect to the internet, and they'll eventually have the ability to just add components to them where all you'll need for video gaming is just an operating system to be put in. And I do think that's where the future will be for like Sony and Microsoft, is just eventually just selling licenses to the Sony OS or the Microsoft OS, or just like, I'm going to buy the next PlayStation, but the PlayStation is just a license, a software, something that they could just be put into a TV, and the TV itself will then be able to play PlayStation games, which at this point in time are mostly downloaded. So
Yeah, I like.
yeah.
Sorry.
I was gonna say Microsoft does
I do
the same
love
thing.
that take. I do love that take. I do see it as the capability is there, you know, and it may save money on their end of
A lot of
having
money.
to build the hardware, because a
Mhm.
lot of people may not want to just buy the hardware. Because if you look at it, the progression, we used to have like the hardware discs of buying the actual CD. Now they went away from that. I mean, I think you still could buy the actual disc now. Can you still? I don't even know
Some
anymore.
games are only DRM now.
Yeah,
They moved
and
away.
then now you can download, so we don't need this, and we'll just store on your hardware. But I do see the capability of having it through the advancement of TV. I could see it where there'll be no more hardware. Which I don't know if they would want to do that, because I think that's money also. They'll still make money, but at the same time you can save money because you don't have to make it.
It'll
So
almost be like streaming services for like music and stuff, but for
yeah,
gaming in a sense.
Yeah.
it's getting to the point. I feel like it's getting to the point where technology will get to that point where we just don't need the hardware anymore, and it saves space in people's living room.
Well, I also think maybe this might be a hot take. I think they're kind of running out of ideas with what to do with a console at the same time. Like you think about Nintendo, what they've done. They've done a lot of good ideas. You think about the Wii, you think about the Switch, how you can make it portable. You can put it on the screen. They've done the interactive part with the Wii. That's what I kind of was referring to earlier too, with like making the game fun again, because the Wii, with the Wii Sports and how you use the controller for certain things to interact in the game, that was really fun. It was fun. It was a simple idea that they took and they made it work. And other games had tried to do it, like Xbox had their version, PlayStation had their version, but it wasn't quite the same as the Wii. If next gen was to do something like that again, maybe, because I hear what you're saying with Sony and Microsoft, but then I'm like, you think Nintendo would do an operating system like that? And how would that look? Because Nintendo's very picky about things. They're not going to just give it out to everybody. So how would that look or work with Nintendo? What would Nintendo do in that instance? Because they're the big three, the K.J. Cole Drake,
Here's my thoughts on what Nintendo would do. And this is just looking at the same history timeline that they released stuff. Basically the Wii was just virtual reality headsets without the virtual reality. The exact same console, like you have the Wii remote, and that if you look at VR headsets, they have the exact same functionality. So
Mm-hmm.
they may have been like a huge stepping stone there, but like that's what basically their thoughts were. The Switch is just a handheld console that can be connected to a TV. That's what a Switch is. All they did was make a really good mobile console. They really made a really good PSP or PSP Vita. That's what they basically did.
Mm-hmm.
I don't consider that. And when people ask me, it's like, oh, that's considered a console. It's like, no, that's a mobile device that's a mobile console that can connect to your TV. That's what it really is.
Do you think? All right. So, do you think Xbox and PlayStation might take that route after the next generation,
No,
or you think it's just going to be straight operating?
PlayStation already went that route with the PSP and the PSP Vita,
yeah.
and they kind of lost money there because eventually some people just like will like to play at home.
Mhm.
And with the Steam Deck out now, I don't think that's a viable option because now there are just some game consoles that are going to only dedicate to online or mobile consoles where that market's starting to become either flooded or very highly competitive. And they don't want to do that. So I don't think that's a route they'd go. And to finish off what am I saying, the Nintendo will probably go something along like we'll focus on mobile consoles in that vein because again their main audience is kids or like the young adults. That's what their main audience is focused for. That's why everything is like very tight niche. You don't have a lot of R-rated games, and the majority of them are ported over in that regard. So I do feel like the Nintendo is probably going to keep suit when making consoles, but they're never going to be a console where it is just a regular basic console. They're always going to have some niche on it, and then I wouldn't be surprised if Nintendo is the first gaming console that is VR. I wouldn't be surprised on that regard at all. So
Yeah, based on the audience,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, not even based on the audience. They're the ones that seem to make. I hate to say it that way.
they
but-
take chances. They take chances.
Yeah, and they usually are successful with it.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about all right, Wii U kind of bombed. All right, we get that one.
We use another version of the Switch, just an early prototype.
Yeah, exactly. And then I guess GameCube you could say was kind of bombed as well.
And it's not that it was a bomb. It just didn't reach the success that other people think. And it took a while for people to get used to it. Because, again, that controller was a mess.
Mhm.
Like, that's what really messed it up, is that controller had so many buttons and so much configuration that it made it very difficult for people to jump into it. It took a learning curve. But once you got used to it, it was really good. And it allowed so many things. Their chances are often met with initial backlash, but then because it's Nintendo, is accepted over time. And that's what like the majority of stories of Nintendo is like. Eventually, people just give in because it's Nintendo, and I hate that mentality so much.
Well, I think kind of part of what you're saying too, though, kind of relates back to their audience being kids. Because as kids,
Young
how can I
adults.
say? Yeah, well, not even young adults, because really, you think about it, it's kids. It's kids and
I was going to
teenagers.
say, yeah, so that's what I'm referring to. Teenagers to young adults.
So they're not like stuck in their ways. They're more open to new ideas and working with whatever Nintendo gives them and figuring it out. Us as adults, we're kind of like, oh my god, this freaking controller sucks. Why they got all this stupid shit? But like for the kids, they don't really care. And the Wii U was a really simple controller if you think about it. It was just
Yeah.
a little like
Maybe
joystick
Wii?
kind of deal. Yeah, Wii. So I think that's what helps them be successful too, because at the same time, you think about like kids and gaming and how quick kids adapt now to gaming and how advanced they are as gamers early on compared to like when we were growing up. It's pretty insane. So I think that's what helps Nintendo be successful in that aspect, and it's kind of a good idea. I know Xbox and Sony try to focus more on the adult side, but because we're the ones that have the money to spend. But I think they should focus more on that fun aspect going forward.
I think fun is just subjective also though. Like there are still fun games according to other people. It's just I think they just need to start listening maybe to the community, maybe a little bit more than the bottom line. But I want to say
Mhm.
start to make fun games again because, like I said, fun is subjective to who you talk to.
Yeah.
You find some games fun than I.
No. I get that. I'm just saying the.
I just don't want to just kind of
No, and I said that before. I said I don't want to say gaming is not fun because I do have fun still gaming, but I feel like back when we were younger, it felt different. That's all.
Of course, it would
Maybe
feel
that's
different.
nostalgia.
Yeah, this is 100% nostalgia. I wanted to end this conversation with a question, and that is, what's next gen thing do you want to have included for? So, like, something you think you would want the next gen to have. It doesn't have to be like something like cool or like futuristic. It just has to be something that is not present in today's consoles or gaming in period.
That's kind of what the question I have for you is like, what can they do?
Don't Socrates me. They're like, what do you want? Well, what do you want?
No, but I'm saying, like, what have you heard in the rumor mills that developers and stuff have wanted to implement in gaming that they haven't been able to?
I mean, I have my own thoughts on what I would want and what the community would want personally. So I will give you a hint. The one thing the community has led was mostly more personalized gaming, games that would be personal to them. So like a store that's ever changing to their purchase habits, or a map that is, or a interaction with the way they play the game. Those are more what the community wants. But like, again, developers are always have their main ideas, but are easily influenced by their audience because they, again, at the end of the day, they want to make a game that is going to be played and liked. Because just like the narcissists that we want our stuff, our creations to be accepted. So there's some give and take on that aspect. It's like, I want to make the game I want, but I also want you to like it. So video game developers don't really tend to go or like hard body on their designs. But I that question was not designed on what the developers want. My question was, what do you want? What do you, Geo, want in a game that is not currently there? And this doesn't have to be only for video games. It could also be for consoles as well, or just like overarching gaming industry.
Mike, do you know what you want right now? Because I got to think about this. You hit me with a question I was not expecting.
I hit him with a curveball. Look, I thought we were
better straight to the game instead of the loading screen.
Quick loading. You want
quick loading. I just want to get into the game.
He wants mini games in the loading.
Yeah, that's what I want right now. Let me just get into the game. I don't care. The loading, I think this is more like better internet, maybe. But that's not even a game. But I don't know.
Better servers.
Yeah, better
servers. That would be great. Better servers and more servers throughout the country. And the reason I say that is to balance ping time throughout. That's what I would definitely like, especially being an online multiplayer. I think League of Legends is what? Chicago is the main, like the closest one to us.
They have a lot of servers. They have servers.
I don't think they have one. They don't have one near Florida.
They have the one in Georgia. It's in Atlanta.
Oh, well, I want one in Florida. Give me one in every state.
Give me one in every.
That's expensive. That's very
balance
expensive.
the ping. Balance the ping.
So what? And you know what? I'll follow up with you because this is one of my things. I would like not servers, but I would like crossplay to be more influential or more fluent. I would like a game not to be locked behind what like company made it. So like if any game has multiplayer on it, I want to be able to play with anyone anywhere. Crossplay exists already, but it's not fluent enough. Like, it makes no sense to me. It's like, oh, I play on the PlayStation. Well, I play on on Steam. Well, we can't play together. That is a dumb thing to me. We're playing the same game. I want to be able to play with other people who are playing the exact same game. So, next gen, I want removal of all non-crossplay features. I want every game to be crossplay. Every game.
Can I ask you something?
What?
Would that be like kind of like removing exclusivity? Like exclusiveness?
No. So,
because I would want that, to be honest, because I kind of hate the fact that, and I guess because it's publishers, right? Publishers create that issue, not so much the developers.
No, and it's definitely not developers. It is more of kind of both the publishers and the like Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo. Because the publishers will take money from like those companies in order to be exclusive. So like Microsoft would pay Gears of War well, Gears of War is a bad example. Pay Spider-Man, the people that make the Spider-Man, also a bad example. Anyway,
Gears of War is exclusive.
But that's because they're made by Microsoft.
Yeah.
They're made by Microsoft. Like games that are exclusive tend to be made by
Sony.
Yes.
Or PlayStation. Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy is always, recently it's got exclusive. Yes.
Yes, Square Enix. So like Square Enix and Squaresoft used to be paid a lot of money just to be on their console. Just on the PlayStation console. And that is like basically handled because the upper management will take a lot of money and they would accept this. It is hard to just say no to that kind of money though, which is the problem that exclusivity would have, is that you need to have the ability not to be able to do that. But it doesn't limit exclusivity by making that crossplay, because again, you could have, I have it on, like, let's say a game is exclusive on on Xbox for whatever reason. You could still play with people if you have it on your computer, because you could just need a Microsoft account. That'd be fine. But PlayStation would not be able to do that because, you know, a good example is Helldivers recently. You need a PlayStation account to be able to play Helldivers. And that's what you would need in order to play with other people who are playing on PlayStation, just for the cross-play aspect of it. And that's kind of dumb. I was just like, why do I need to make a PlayStation account to be able to play with other people to play this game? Because in order to enable that cross-play, you need to have a PlayStation account to be able to use it. That's my thoughts about it. But, like, I do think we don't need exclusivity in that regard. If you want to be exclusive, you could have, like, these skins or these cosmetics are only available to PlayStation users, or these skins are only exclusive to Microsoft users. And that way you can have exclusivity, but it doesn't tie to the gameplay of it.
Mm-hmm. That's what I would definitely like to see out of next gen. I feel like no matter what you play on, you should be able to play any and every game.
Yes. Which is why we become PC Master Race. All right. I think that we have had all the main points that I think we wanted to talk about. Does anyone have any extra things they want to throw in? Any concerns? All right. Well, that's all from us. Make sure you leave a comment down below on what you would like to see in Next Gen Gaming, or your opinions on what the Next Gen will be. Thank you for watching. Peace.
Later.
Thank you for watching this episode of the Part-Time Gamers podcast. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. And follow us on our other social platforms on TikTok, Instagram, and Discord. Links for those will be provided in the description. Thank you again. We will see you on the next episode of the podcast. And make sure you make some time for video games. Peace.